Sports, 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 sports.
This week we are at the halfway point. Well, at least the break
Yeah,
point
it's
of
halfway.
okay, cool. So of the F1 season for 2025, which is crazy to me that it's July already. Been an eventful season, and also there's been some news that I'm looking forward to talking to our resident F1 specialist. So looking forward to talking to good old Curb Rider here. How's it going?
It's going very good. Well, yeah, pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Looking forward to chatting with you. So,
Mm,
Adam, let's start here because this was big news in the US, which
yeah.
is interesting because the US isn't really a huge F1 space. So I am curious to get your thoughts on this whole thing with Team Red Bull and their
Yeah.
principal, Christian Horner, is dismissed after about 20 years of service.
Yep.
So, kind of talk to me about what happened there and
Yeah.
just
Well,
kind of any thoughts that you want to give regarding that.
look, I am very much on record of not being a fan of Christian Horner. He's a politician. He's a hypocrite. He's two-faced. He's a snake in the grass. And I was stoked that he got sacked. We still don't. Yeah. Look, I just don't. Yeah. Look, can't knock the achievements that he brought the team, like that he got the team. Like he was very much the leader of that team and won them 14 world championships. So yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due, but I still do not like the man at all. I think he's a very sly bugger, as we'd say. Why he got sacked, it still remains to be seen. There's been rumors about shares changing within the Red Bull family between the Thai owned the Thai share owners had them have the majority because basically Red Bull was found by Diedrich Mateschitz while he was touring through Thailand, and they still have 51% of the company. 2% recently got switched over to something, and people were assuming it's because of that shift in shares they were able to vote him out, to vote to get Horner out. That was pretty much debunked today. The initial question that everyone else had was has he been sacked because Max is going to Mercedes, has already been signed, or was he sacked because Max is staying? Because it's pretty well known within that side of the garage that Jos, who is Max's dad, does not like Christian very much. Basically called for his sacking instantly with the sexting scandal he had last year, which caused a rift in the entire team. That's why Newey left. They've lost a lot of big names to other teams, which happens with successful teams. They will have their better staff poached by teams who have the money and the will to win, I suppose. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've ranted a little bit there. Do you have any follow-up questions in any of what I've said?
So, I guess the big thing is just what's next? Like
Mm,
what do you kind of foresee as, why not so much why this happened, because I think you've kind of telegraphed, just maybe it was time for a change of pace because the guy had been embroiled in scandal, quote unquote scandal.
yeah,
It's funny that a sexting scandal would sack someone like this, but a guy can become the president of the United States after he says he's gonna, grab some
exactly.
whatever. But whatever, hypocrisy here and there and different standards. But what's next for Red Bull?
On.
What do you
For
kind
Red
of
Bull.
see? Yeah, what do you kind of see
Well,
as, is this like a change of direction? Is this, what do you kind of foresee there?
Well, Horner was quickly replaced by Lauren Mekies, who is the CEO, the team leader of their sister team, who are now called. They used to be to Toro. I still call them Toro Rosso. They are now Racing Bulls. Sorry, I nearly called them AlphaTauri as well. They've gone through a few names for marketing, and their second man, Alan Permane, who is a genius Formula One operator, is now leading the sister team. So their future, look, the car that they have at the moment is also maybe a big factor why Horner's been sacked because he, like I said, he has driven a wedge of division into the Red Bull family, which lost him a lot of staff. and the car is really a trash car. If it wasn't for Max driving the absolute wheels off it and being a legitimate goat of the sport, as much as I hate to
Mhm.
say that, that team would be last on the grid. They would be the 10th best team on the grid because their other drivers just do not score points because the car is so difficult to drive. So the future for them, they're lucky that they have a fresh start next year with a completely new formula for 2026.
Mm.
So they will be designing obviously a new car, a new engine, same as everyone else. So the future for them is as much of a coin toss as it is for any other team at the moment. 2026 again, yeah, it could be anyone's. My prediction for 2026 is that it's going to be the Mercedes powered teams who'll probably be on top at first because they will get the engine right. The rumors are that Mercedes have the engine in a better space than any other engine manufacturer at the moment. The future for Christian Horner, there's been rumors that Ferrari's boss, who's only been there not long, less than 3 years, is on the way out, and that they've approached Christian Horner already to get him over there. The thing is, Horner wouldn't be able to go there until I don't think until next year. What they call it in Formula One, I don't. They might call it the same thing in other sports or businesses, but he's on gardening leave technically, so he's just basically not in the office. He's still getting paid, just not to work. He would have gotten a very lovely payout too, given him more money than he doesn't need, I would imagine. What he would choose to do, I don't know. He'd be hurting a lot as a person because Red Bull is his family. He grew that team from literal laughing stock of the grid. They were the party team, not they weren't serious, to a team that's won 2 drivers 4 world championships in a row on 2 occasions. The team multiple world constructors championships. Yeah, like I said, he's taken the team a long way, got them into serious business, has run that ship very, very well. Thanks also very much thanks to Adrian Newey. What I've always said he could do would be a literal politician. He would be very good in government because he is a great spin merchant. He's a great
Mm.
bullshitter, and he is a bit of an arrogant little prick. So I think that's why he would do very well in British politics. So I could see him running for the House of Commons and becoming Prime Minister one day. I really could. Or he could lead Ferrari to the next golden era. It's very much going to depend on his energy levels, I suppose. He's in his mid-50s. He would never have to work again. Does he want to work again? Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a very interesting situation, actually. Maybe we'll have some news by the season end wrap up.
This is something that we did not talk about before before we hit record, but I guess the other big piece of news regarding Formula One is the release of F1, the movie.
Oh yes,
Just injecting a little movie.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm very curious. As an F1 fan, how did you feel about the movie? Or because I guess you're probably looking at it from two different perspectives. You're looking at it from a movie
Exactly.
fan and you're looking at it
Yes.
from an F1 fan. So I actually am kind of curious from both perspectives. So wherever you want to start.
Yeah, I've
So
got you covered. Because I was
so
going to say two Adams watch this movie, the
mhm.
cinephile and the Formula One lunatic, the Formula One crazy. The Formula One crazy was really pissed off with it, to be honest, because there's a lot of things that happen in this, especially from a rules perspective and a logic perspective, absolute fucking bullshit, and it really aggravated me. The biggest criminal act from a rules perspective was that when there's a scene in it, and I don't think these are spoilers, but but Brad Pitt comes into the pits and he wants the soft tires, and they give him the hards because there's a bit of a debate about the strategy, and he's like softs, and he doesn't leave the pits for like 30 seconds. That's the race over. But he comes out, he ends up coming out of the pits once they finally decide to put the tires on he wants, comes back basically into the mix of the pack. He'd be a lap down in any real world scenario, and basically then begins to take out these other cars. Like any other driver on the grid, they would be banned. You'd be banned from because just against the sporting regs. He'd have so many penalty points, he'd have so many fines for the accidents that he deliberately caused. As much as he did it sneakily, they can tell when it's deliberate and when it's not. It's not hard to tell. So, and then there's a moment at the very end with a red flag, which would never be a red flag in that scenario that it happened in. It just wouldn't be. It would be a virtual safety car at worst, at best. But the cinephile in me loved the film because it did exactly what it set out to do. The Formula One group basically went to Hollywood and said, make a movie for us, make us a big blockbuster movie. They've done that to get fans in, and which it has. It made good money at the box office. It's a great spectacle. The racing scenes in it. The racing action is possibly the best there ever has been on screen. It's very close to it. It looks great. There are moments where it's like a bit. My biggest gripe with racing movies has always been that they never get the racing right. Like the racing looks terrible. Gran Turismo came pretty close to it. Like it's quite good in Gran Turismo. And then you've got the old classic movies like Grand Prix and Le Mans and you know, all those older ones that are actually quite impressive. But more modern movies just don't get car racing right at all. Ford versus Ferrari I'll have to give Ford versus Ferrari a pass too. That was really good. But what Joe Kosinski did here, the way they intermix the action with the drama of it, it is a very much you can tell it's from the Bruckheimer family of movies. Like it's very much the storyline harkens back to those 80s and 90s Bruckheimer blockbusters like Top Gun, Days of Thunder. People keep calling it Top Gun but Formula One cars. That couldn't be any further from the truth, in my opinion. It's not at all like that. I thought Brad Pitt, I've heard other people say opposite to this, but I thought Brad Pitt was fantastic. He was really quite nuanced in his performance. If you look at it again, I was really impressed with him. It did kind of remind me like it was a bit Cliff Booth 2.0. Like it was a bit more in that Cliff Booth persona, but just a little bit extra, actually. I could see that all over him. And there'll definitely be a sequel, but Brad wouldn't be driving in it. Like, yeah, I mean, that concept alone for a guy that old coming back to Formula One and doing what he did, he might come back as a strategist or a consultant, but never a driver. Like, it's just not going to happen. But anyway, yeah, look, it's definitely a movie worth seeing, and I will absolutely watch it over and over again. But those rule gripes, I'll learn to live with those in time.
Because on one end, you know, it's great that more people like. I'm glad that this was a success because number one, I'm glad for Apple. It's like, hey, congrats, you finally made a successful movie at the box office. So good for you. But on another end, I'm sure you as a fan, there's maybe kind of a little bit of a worry, kind of maybe similar to how you felt with, or how maybe fans felt with Drive to Survive. It's like we're attracting more fans. Are we attracting the right type of fans though? Or
the
do
internet
you care?
tells me no. The forums tell me absolutely not. Just it's remarkable the amount of uneducated, actually I don't want to say that, inexperienced followers of the sport, how confident they are in the statements they make online when it comes to some argy-bargy like post-race comments. It is astonishing how confident they are in their wrongness or their just lack of understanding of the sport. Yeah, it really bothers me, and sometimes I bite and comment, and sometimes I don't. It can be fun for me at times, just being frustrated, but scrolling past, or other times I'm like, I can't let that slide. I have to say something, and yeah, I have been in some little arguments, I would say, online. Yeah,
and that's okay. It is what it is.
Well, look, I'm passionate about the sport I love, and I'm going to defend it where I can.
Yeah. So if we're taking a look at the season, and as I'm kind of scrolling through some information, I feel like I guess the big place to start is McLaren, because McLaren's cleaning up this season so far.
They are, and it actually was predicted. Everyone thought McLaren, and I hoped McLaren. I'm pretty sure in the the season opening episode, I was like, McLaren should be on top. And it is strange that the fact that they are, but in qualifying, the car is quite difficult to drive. And the reason they are dominating the races is that they've built a car for races. It's really very good on its tires. Oscar Piastri has stepped up another level as well. So that's, again, why they're dominating. It's not just 1.5 drivers. They have two. They do have absolutely the best driver lineup on the grid, hands down. Two very young, two extraordinarily fast drivers who are at the same level that are just battling it out for what is probably going to be an epic Grand Prix season. Yeah, there'll be more to say about the drivers individually, but I'm happy for you to ask me other questions if you wanted to.
So we'll start with the team level, because taking a look, let's see, McLaren's in first with 9 wins, 20 podiums. Ferrari is pretty far behind them, but
everyone's pretty far behind.
Yeah. So any team in particular so far this season that's been, let's take McLaren out of the mix, because if they were expected to win and to kind of be streets ahead, all of these other teams, Any team in particular that kind of stands out as like you're overperforming or underperforming?
Well, yeah, along with McLaren, I also predicted Ferrari were going to be quite good this year. And Ferrari doing what they normally do has show all this potential and all this hope, and they should be good, but they're just not. Even though they're second in the championship, that's really because, like I said, Red Bull have a one-car team. I mean, Max has scored 165 out of their 175 points. And Mercedes, as good as that car is, Mercedes has been really good. George Russell has been phenomenal this year, but they have a complete rookie in their car. So they're losing points, even though Antonelli has been quite impressive for a rookie. He's only 18 years old. But the fact that he is a brand new driver to the sport in a top team, that's the reason why Mercedes are not scoring as much as they could either. If they had someone more experienced, they would probably be clearly in second. And probably battling McLaren a lot closer than they are.
Okay.
So, but as far as standouts go, like Ferrari probably is the most disappointing, but probably the biggest improver this year has been Williams so far, because they developed a really great car at the start of the year, which they've admitted they've stopped developing this because all of their resources are going towards their 2026 car now, so they will fall off a little bit, but they did build a very impressive car for them at the start of the year. It's probably the fourth quickest car on the grid at the beginning of the year. Coming from last to fourth is a big step up. But yeah, they've got no more development, so they're going to fall behind, which is how it works.
So we talked a little bit about teams. Let's talk. You alluded to individual drivers as well. So from a driving standpoint, the two McLaren drivers, they've got combined 9 wins amongst them. Max Verstappen, as you mentioned, is up there as well with 2 wins. Anything kind of stand out from a driving performance standpoint that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, Oscar Piastri, honestly, he was consistently maybe between 1.5 to 3 tenths behind Norris last year in pretty much most sessions. This year, he is pretty much, the points and the stats might look better for Norris than they actually are. Piastri's kind of beaten him quite resoundingly this year. And I can go through race by race how and why I have that conclusion.
We could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. In Australia, was first round 1 of the year, Norris won the race, but Oscar was quicker than him and catching him and was probably going to eventually overtake him, but the team told him not to while they were going through traffic. Then it rained and they both come off the track and Oscar came out worse from that. So Oscar was quicker than Norris in the race in Australia. In China, Piastri won quite convincingly. He won in Japan. Japan, he was third on the grid between Max, who was on pole, and Oscar, who was third, with Lando Norris in between. There was less than half a tenth of a second between those 3 drivers from 1 to 3rd. During the race again, Oscar was showing he was quicker than Norris in the race, but had to stay in 3rd because he couldn't overtake and the team weren't going to allow him to overtake. Oscar again won quite convincingly in Bahrain. He won again quite convincingly in Saudi Arabia by beating Max toe-to-toe. He came from 4th on the grid in Miami to win that race in a really convincing win again. Lando kind of dug his own holes in that race. I mean, Imola was probably the first time that Norris had outpaced Piastri over the weekend and came second to Piastri's 3rd. Monaco, Norris again was definitely quicker than Piastri that weekend. Piastri just couldn't get on top of his car, and Norris definitely deserved that win. But then come Spain, the next race, Oscar just won that race with ease, won it very much with ease. In Canada, he was in front of Lando all race. Lando was catching him, though, admittedly, but ended up crashing into him and gave Oscar the points, and Norris didn't get any points at all. In Austria, again, Piastri was quicker than him, but was a little bit touch and go with some overtakes. It was really great racing. But again, Piastri showed in the race he was quicker than Norris, but just couldn't get past him and finished a pretty comfortable 2nd. And in Britain, he was also going to win that race, but got a silly penalty. At me all you want and try and tell me that wasn't a stupid penalty, but getting a 10-second penalty for what he did was absolutely mental, and he lost that race to Norris because of that penalty. So that's why I think Piastri is pretty much walking all over Norris this year. Norris does seem to be coming back into a bit of form. With 12 more races to go, it's going to be really interesting to see if Oscar kicks on, and if Oscar keeps going the way he's going, he will win this championship. Norris will I think, continue to dig his own hole. Depends how they've developed that car. They have developed that car a little bit differently for Norris, which Oscar doesn't like. There's new front suspension, which Norris uses. Piastri doesn't. So they are, I guess, doing what they can to get Norris back up there. But Piastri just seems to have him covered, at least halfway into the year. I'll absolutely hope Piastri wins, but being that I want him to win so much, I'm a little bit dubious about those feelings. I don't want to be let down if he doesn't win, because Lando is the much more experienced driver. And that's what makes it more impressive for Oscar, that Oscar is still improving. Lando's probably not improving that much from an overall pace perspective. Oscar's still got lots of growth to go. And the fact that he could win the championship this year is really exciting as an Australian. The way he's driving, he does have a cooler and calmer head. I do think Oscar should win this year's championship, but it is going to be very close. Yeah, it's going to be a really tense and heart racing final half of the season, to be honest, for me.
Any other standouts this year that you want to talk about? Because taking a look at kind of just some of the results, the driver for Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, is that how you pronounce it?
Charles Leclerc.
Charlotte.
It's okay. It's fine. No.
My apologies about that. But if he is, I apologize. But
yeah,
Leclerc has been coming up quite a bit. So could you talk about his performance this season?
What are you seeing coming up about him? Anything specifically?
Just that he's been coming up quite frequently in terms of, placing in, like placing towards the top. And then also that he's currently 5th in the driver standings right now. So just kind of curious about him, and then I'll have others to ask about as well.
Yeah, it's been a funny year for Leclerc, to be honest. As predicted, he's beating Hamilton quite comfortably, as I said he would at the start of the year. The points don't really reflect that. But Charles, again, a bit like Lando, is incredibly quick. Like Leclerc over a single lap might be the quickest driver out there in a qualifying lap, in all reality, and that includes Max in that sentence. But Leclerc isn't as consistent in his delivery, or Ferrari aren't as consistent in delivering him a clean weekend and a car that is suitable to him every weekend. But when he's on it, he's on it. He's been quite under the radar, actually, Leclerc, this year, because, I mean, Ferrari are second in the championship, but we are still considering they're having a very bad year because they've had, like you said, they've had 3 third places and a second. Hamilton hasn't been on the podium. Hamilton did win a sprint race in China, but that's really about it. He's done. He's just solid in bringing in points, as he always does, Hamilton. But Leclerc, he's a really difficult one to talk about this year. He has so much potential and he's so much talent and he's so damn quick and he's very, very popular for the mere fact that he's a Ferrari driver and he's a very handsome little man. But I haven't been mega impressed with Ferrari at all this year, and that includes their drivers. They have been disappointing. Yeah. You said you had did you have any follow-up questions for that one, or did you want to talk about the next driver?
So no follow-ups for that. Taking a look at some other people, George Russell has been coming up. He's got to win. Mercedes is, not by all accounts is hanging in there, but not like everybody is just chasing McLaren right now, but
I think overall, because of Russell, it looks as though Mercedes probably do have this second best car out there. But again, like I said, with Antonelli, his rookie teammate is not bringing the team points up because, he's a rookie. He's still learning and he's had a few retirements. Actually, looking at this, he's had 4 retirements and not all his own fault, but most of them are. And George has been impressive. He's always up there in qualifying. He's had some issues in races because of, the Mercedes car is very susceptible to track layout, susceptible to temperature. So when the ambient and track temperatures don't work out for Mercedes, they do fall apart a little bit with their tyre wear, which explains why he's so quick in qualifying. But George, he's won a race, he's had a second and 3 thirds, so he's been very solid and very impressive. And the fact that, which is something we will talk about again later, that it does look like Max Verstappen is going to Mercedes next year, and George is probably the one most likely to lose his race seat. It won't be Antonelli because Antonelli is being bred to be their next megastar. So for someone like Russell, who's probably in the top 3 drivers performing this year, between him and Piastri And Norris, yeah, he might be without a race seat, which is really ironic because Russell is a fantastic driver. Yeah, he really is. He's one of the better ones out there for sure.
Any other drivers this year that you've been at least semi impressed might not be the best word about
No,
that,
it's
but
impressed.
if
Yeah.
if there's been any drivers that have been super disappointing or that you've been like, okay, I see something
Yeah.
I see something in you and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the second half of the season.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to call out Isaac Hadjar, who drives for the Racing Bulls, the Red Bull junior team or sister team. I do watch Formula 2 and I was watching him in Formula 3 and 2 and I knew he was going to be good. I actually said to a few mates, Hadjar's racing, like when he was announced, I was like, you watch this guy next year. He's amazing. He's really, really good. And he's proven me right. He's been extraordinarily impressive, Isaac Hadjar. Again, as a rookie. Antonelli, like I said, he's been super impressive as a rookie, despite the results not being there. You have to remember he is a rookie. I'll say it again, but yeah, showing great turns of speed. He had the pole position in the Miami sprint race, which is incredibly impressive for someone so young in their career. Like it might have been in what he's sixth race ever, gets a pole position. Super impressive. Disappointments have been a little bit disappointing in Carlos Sainz, to be honest. He is also one of the better drivers out there, but he's having some problems getting up to speed with his Williams. Alex Albon has kind of shown him the door overall. Carlos has shown absolute moments of speed and pace, and the potential is there, but I'm not sure he's being consistent enough with his car. But I do have faith in Carlos. He'll get back up there. Disappointed in who else am I disappointed in? Circumstantial wise, Yuki Tsunoda has gone to Red Bull in a car that's very difficult to drive and proven so from every other driver's perspective that has attached themselves to Red Bull other than Max. Again, disappointed that not disappointed in his performances specifically, but disappointed in the fact that he's in the Red Bull, the major team, and not getting the results that he probably deserves and should, and showing off his actual talent. I mean, Yuki, I've been a big fan of Yuki again since Formula 2 days. He's a very gutsy and very quick driver, and he's finally gotten on top of his head issues, and he's got some consistency. Now he just doesn't have the car, sadly, that can get him anywhere. It's just he's in a very tricky situation. I do feel for him, and I hope he doesn't lose a drive because of this year. Other disappointments, look, I could say Alpine and Aston Martin have been disappointing from a team's perspective. It's hard to say you're disappointed with the drivers. Quite disappointed that Alpine got rid of Jack Doohan so quick and brought in Colapinto, who has proven to not be as quick as Jack Doohan in all reality. Absolutely not as quick as Doohan. And as we speak, he's still driving the car. So there's rumours that he might be switched out already as well because he's not performing. So yeah, that's probably it for pros and cons for the season. So
any races that you want to talk about in particular, any that you quite enjoyed or any that was like, well, that was a bit of a dud?
Any races, sorry?
Yeah, just like any specific races that you want to highlight as I quite enjoyed this one.
Yeah, look, Monaco is always a dud from the outside, but I love Monaco for the simple fact that it is what it is. It's very unique, and it's just amazing watching those guys drive those cars around there the way they do. A dud of a race for me.
But and I don't mean to skew negative or anything like that, but also just any races that you were like, this was an amazing race, and if you could pick any race to show like a casual fan, it's like. Check this one out.
I'd always say Austria. Austria was a fantastic race simply because the two leading drivers were battling very well. Other than that, Japan, Japan was a bit boring, was a bit processional. No one could overtake. Spain was a little bit the same, not much overtaking there. Saudi Arabia was quite a good race because of the Piastri-Verstappen battle at the front, especially at the very start. And there was a bit of controversy and politics there. The Piastri beating Verstappen was toe-to-toe was quite exciting. I'm just looking at my calendar here and just trying to remember the race. The British race was really good. It was a really good race despite the result and the bad stewardship. It was still a good race because it was a wet-dry race, wet-dry type of thing. Like it was, you saw a lot of mix of tyres, a lot of strategy calls. Nico Hulkenberg got his first ever podium after 239 races, which was something that's been coming a long time. Yeah, I don't think I could say much more than that, to be honest. It's because McLaren have been out there for most of it. When Verstappen has won his two races, Imola Imola was quite an interesting race, but really hard to overtake on. So it was a good race to watch, but really hard to overtake on. And he won in Japan, which was quite a boring race because again, that was on a track they could overtake on, despite McLaren definitely being quicker than the Red Bull. They just couldn't. Yeah, there's just no overtaking there, so made it a bit boring, sadly.
We're a couple weeks into the break because as of us recording this, it's been about 2 weeks into the break. And then by the time this episode releases, the break will be coming to an end with the Belgian Grand Prix starting. So I'm kind of curious, anything of note or anything exciting happen during the break that you want to call out?
Well, Well, I just want to say this isn't technically the summer break. There is a 3 week gap between races, but we have Belgium and Hungary coming, and then there's a 4 week break to round 15. I don't know why they do it that way, but it's just the August. They basically get August off for summer in Europe. But so now I've forgotten your question after being a dick and correcting you.
No, it's all good. Anything of note happen in these 3 weeks, or this is just kind of a usual race break?
Yeah, well, other than Horner being sacked, and some very compelling images of Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff together hiding out in Sardinia, signing contracts possibly. No announcements have come out. There's nothing major coming out. No major surprise contract-wise yet. That is probably likely to happen through August, and we'll find out probably after the Hungarian race what Max is doing, because there are rumours of performance clauses, which means he can actually leave his contract if these are the rumours that he can leave his contract if Red Bull aren't in the top 3 in the Constructors' Championship by a certain date, which is generally the 1st of August or the end of July. So they've already got 2 more races to go to see if that happens. Yeah, so nothing exciting yet.
Okay, but potentially something coming down the pipe. Anything to call out for the second half of the season that you're looking forward to, or anything that you want to call out?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing, like I've kind of alluded to at the start, is this championship battle between Norris and Piastri, and seeing who ends up on top there. I would be putting, if I was a gambling man, I'd be putting a lot of money on Piastri to win Belgium the next race. I think it's definitely his type of circuit, his type of car. I will be very shocked if he doesn't win that race from a speed perspective. He was quickest there last year. Actually, probably should have won the race there last year, except for some unfortunate strategy call. I did have something I was going to say and I completely forgot. It's going to be a real arm wrestle, I think, is what we're looking forward to with this championship. I would love to see Piastri just come out of this summer break or these bigger breaks and just win the next 12 races, to be honest, because, I'm Australian. I'm going to have some patriotism. And look, I love the guy anyway. From a personality perspective, I think he's just a cool little dude, actually. He's very funny, very dry, very level-headed, really intelligent. He's next to Max. He's probably the most intelligent driver out there, I think, especially when it comes to racecraft. He's very, very good. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is hopefully a Piastri championship. But I am also looking forward to just a great battle, regardless of what the outcome happens to be. I hope it's a fair battle, and I hope there's no controversy that decides it, like, some bad penalty or an engine blow up or something. I hope it's just a fair fight to the end of the year, and the better man will win. Whoever that is, it will be the better man that wins it this year.
Cool. Anything else for the season? Any first half thoughts? Anything that you want to talk about? Probably
nothing right now as I come to it. It's just it is going to be a very interesting 12 races, and that goes all the way down the grid, because we're going to see Hamilton catch back, get on top of his form and get on par with Leclerc. Will we see contract changes with Verstappen? Will we see driver changes at Alpine? Will we see driver changes anywhere else? I want to see how the Haas goes. Behrman and Ocon are actually, we haven't mentioned Haas, but they've been quite impressive this year, both of them. Behrman has been a really impressive rookie as well. Nothing else particular to call out. It's until we get to postseason, and there'll probably be lots to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah, so looking forward to chatting with you postseason. So another exciting almost first half of the season. So Adam, always look forward to our F1 chats, because I always feel like I learn so much from it. I am still, I've caught bits and pieces of races. So if anything, you've at least inspired me to check it out. Watching one start to finish, I have not gotten a chance to do that yet because Formula One is still in the US is still something where it's still kind of hard to watch because
time
it's
zones.
just not readily available.
Yeah.
And plus also
okay.
from the time difference perspective, it's tricky, but there's there's a couple US races that are coming up that I'm sure will get a lot of press and will, especially now that Formula One is going to be the next up and coming sport in the US since
Sure
Apple
is.
made a movie about it. So
Well, before we go, I did want to mention that it's strongly rumored that Apple are looking to buy the rights in the US to stream Formula One. So it won't be ESPN anymore. It'll actually be on Apple.
that would probably be smart because
mm,
Apple's got
3
an
billion.
interesting sports formula where they bought a lot of the rights to stream MLS soccer, and then they have some baseball, but it's not been as much. But they tried to get in with the NFL and the NBA, and that didn't work out. So nobody cares about NASCAR in the US anymore. I think it's the days of NASCAR are kind of gone. So thankfully, Formula One, this seems like a prime opportunity for them to take over. And I'm sure ESPN would be like, fine, go ahead, which is too bad because I also don't think ESPN's coverage of Formula One isn't that great either.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it's like. We get the Sky UK feed here in Australia, and it's pretty. Look, I like it. I do quite like it. There's pros and cons to all of that type of thing. I mean, Apple apparently throwing 3 billion at Formula One to take those rights, and it's going to be hard to knock back $3 billion, right, from any media. I mean, technically, Formula One now is owned by a media company, so they're in the business of making money, and I'm sure they will do that. Sadly, though, it doesn't mean that Formula One's going to come to Australia, but it might mean more Apple-generated F1 content. Yeah, they might do their own Drive to Survive.
Well, which would be pretty good considering that they've they're taking the time to invest in infrastructure, and they're also just trying to potentially just continue the exposure because if Apple, a worldwide global brand invest in Formula One, all of us freaks with iPhones, we're going to be like, okay, I'll check. One of us is bound to like at least be like, oh, I'll check this out, and then become a fan because that's all you can ask for at that point.
The biggest thing about wishing for Apple to get the rights, and it would be good, but what it will do is just increase the price of subscription. So that will be a pisser. Even though it'll increase my subscription, and I won't even be able to watch all Formula One on Apple, but they'll still up my price for it, which will be shit. But you have to deal, don't we?
Economics, right? Just that sucks from a subscription standpoint, but I hear you. I hear you there. But Adam, thank you as always for talking Formula One with me. I know you love talking about it. I also love hearing you talk about it because I can just tell how enthusiastic you are about it. So always look forward to chatting with you. Anything that you want to plug, or where can people find you if they want to continue the Formula One or movie or physical media conversation?
Yeah, probably I'll say a few places. I do have my physical media podcast called Curbside Collections on the same SPDM network. I co-host another show called The Cinematic Wasteland with Shane and Luke about this history of cinema. And also in the middle of recording a new show coming out with a friend, Mike, called The Super Fun Happy Horror Hour, which will be a podcast just about horror movies and our experiences with them, and lots of different things going along with that. That'll be launching at the end of July, and some pretty cool episodes coming after that. And other than that, also Letterboxd, I'll say. Curb Rider on Letterboxd is where you can catch me, and send all your hate mail for any comments I've made here today.
Cool. Well, thanks again, and looking forward to chatting with you at the end of the season.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. This is always fun.